What is up, maniacs? Welcome to WMMAnia. This is episode 52. It is March 10th, a very special Friday edition of the show. I am your host, as always, Drake Rick, here to bring you the latest and greatest in the world of mixed martial arts when it comes to the ladies specifically. I'm sure you're wondering why the show was on a Friday, and it's because I am on the road this week down in San Jose for Bellator 292, which did have a fight that we were going to talk about on it, but that is no longer the case as Carrie Melendez got injured. Will not be fighting Bruna Ellen. Wishing her speedy recovery. Sounds like she should be back hopefully soon. But what we will be talking about today is, of course, the madness from UFC 285. We'll be recapping that. Then some news, as always. Plenty of things going on, specifically plenty of announcements overseas, which I cannot wait to get into. And then some surprises as well for UFC matchups, potentially surprises, I guess you could say. And previewing the fight that we have tomorrow. So that is about it. Not looking to be a very long show, you guys, because I will be needing to get ready here at the top of the hour. So probably about an hour long, and not the craziest, lengthiest lineup anyway, but that's all right. Still had to talk about what went down the past weekend specifically. That was kind of the main thing here, was how do you not get into that, and we will get into that momentarily. Hopefully everything's sounding good as well. Not the usual setup, but this is the road setup, making it work as good as we can. As Rio is here, good to see you, sir. Good, not morning, but start of the middle of the day. Did you ever interview the Legend Road FC champion and the only man to sweep Islam Makhachev, Mansour Barnawi? I have not interviewed him yet. Definitely would like to. He's very talented, very good. Cannot wait to see him continue on in Bellator. Yeah, have not got to do that yet. But Ghost says, breaking news. What is it? What do we have? That looks really good on the screen. You see how that pops up there? That looks very, very nice. But what have I missed, Ghost? Did I miss something big? Guess he will tell us. But anyway, let's get in to UFC 85. Oh, I see. 285. Excuse me. John Jones was paid $100 million after his fight with Gunn, he says. Is this real? Is this a real thing? Is this actually what is coming out? Hey, I got to look real quick because that is pretty crazy if true. I think you're just making this up because that's obviously a little ridiculous. But you're getting me, Ghost. You're trolling me early here. I'm still pretty tired, but I want to look. Anyway, let's not get hung up on there. Oh, there we go. It's not true, but I'm being a beacon of positivity. That's the spirit, my friend. Let's keep that going, always being positive here. Wouldn't that be nice if everybody, all the champions, were making that much in MMA? Anyway, for the real news and the real stuff to talk about, what did also happen to UFC 285, we're kicking it off right with the big one, as we do when the big things happen. At flyweight, we have a new queen. Alexa Grasso defeated Valentina Shevchenko via fourth round submission. Got her with the face crank, at 434. I mean, holy shit. I still can't really even believe this. Like, what a moment. What a moment, first of all. And yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's not as crazy as it would have been before, let's say, I don't know, 2 years ago or something, because, obviously we started seeing some exploitations of Valentina's grappling, specifically against Jennifer Maia and Tyler Santos, obviously giving up the back a little bit too easily or comfortably, I guess you could say. And with Alexa, I've continually told people since she got to like flyweight, pretty much towards the end of her strawweight run, but she as great of a boxer as she is, great of a striker, that's obviously her bread and butter. She has continually improved her grappling, defense, and offense, and that wasn't on display in this fight. All right, so let's kind of take it from the beginning. First round was exactly the approach and way that Alexa Grasso should have, come into this fight. She did fantastic there. Ended up not rocking, but visibly stunning Valentina with just a clean right hand on the chin, was finding the timing and distance very well. And man, I think it just kind of the highlight of this fight from Grasso's side, aside from obviously the finish, like kind of the keys to what led things to where they ended up going. I mean, just fundamentals, man. Good old boxing fundamentals. The 1-2 all day from her. She was like, I don't want to say spamming it, but it was kind of the key to her striking success, just not repeatedly, not like overly doing it, but the timing of her utilization of her 1-2 was kind of the moneymaker in the first round, and kind of funny to think that like would you say that's the most simple boxing combination? I mean, it's 1 and 2. Haha. Anyway, it's kind of funny that would be the thing that ended up kind of cracking, literally, Valentina, because she's Valentina and been so perfect and all this stuff. But then I guess it just goes to show how important the fundamentals are in combat sports for that to be a big success point for Alexa and ultimately lead her to winning the first round. And then Valentina, wisely like a champ, adjusted perfectly and decided to get wrestling and taking Alexa down, which was fairly easier than you would have liked to see it. I mean, Valentina is a pretty good wrestler and grappler as well. As we know, she does everything well. So I don't know. That was obviously not great for Alexa, but she managed to survive and do well enough in some of those positions. And what she survived a crucifix at one point, she got out of there. That was very impressive. So like there were still some things that looked that weren't terrible once it got onto the ground from Alexa. Of course, you would have liked to see her defend better in terms of stopping it from getting down there. But yeah, she lost the next 2 rounds pretty clearly because of that. And then in the 4th round, I'm kind of surprised that no one is bringing it up as much as you would assume they would. But the terrible stand-up from Jason Herzog was mind-blowing. And you could argue, I'm definitely not arguing this, even though you certainly could. I have to put it out there. You could argue that led to the end, the end for Valentina. They get stood up. Alexa wisely pressures her, backs her up against the cage. I don't know if it was just poor spatial awareness from Valentina, but she went for the spinning body kick way too close, at way too close a range. People equating that to the Rockhold and Weidman moment, which is fair. A lot sillier, I think, in the Weidman case, because why would he, of all people, throw that? And his was to the head, if I'm remembering correctly. It was supposed to be anyway. Then gives up her back, and blink of an eye, Alexa wraps up the choke. Insane. Like, just for her to win wasn't a huge surprise to me. Like, and if she would have won, by a submission of anything, would have expected rear naked. We obviously saw her get that against JoJo, and like I said, her grappling offense has just gotten gradually better. We don't see it very often, but when we do, but the speed of it all, and I mean the fact that she practiced that, fucking insane, beautiful. Like what just makes the moment all that crazier, and the squeeze, my God. With 30 seconds ticking down, I was thinking Valentina would probably survive, but she just decided to try and crush her skull like a grape. Ultimately did. Insane. Absolutely insane. Massive congrats to Alexa Grasso. What a feel-good moment. These are the best parts of the sport. I mean, seriously. My goodness. It was crazy shit. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but really well done from Alexa. Very much looking forward to the rematch, which you can pretty much guarantee, of course, makes sense. As much love Erin Blanchfield, and would like to see her get in there. Do her versus Tyler Santos on the same card, or there's Mania also. But yeah, as a fight, really enjoyed this one. It was very intriguing watching it play out. So I think solid 8 for me. Yeah, I really liked it. And I mean, of course, the ending makes it even better. Performance-wise from Grasso, I think probably about an 8 as well. You can't really, you can obviously knock her for the poor takedown defense, but everything else was pretty impressive, especially the first round was clearly her best, but then I don't know how you give her anything below a 7, really. And not that Valentina was terrible either. Let's address that too. I don't think that this is Valentina declining. Everybody kind of saying that. I think it's just that everyone else, the flyweight division, has gotten good again. I would always tell people again, before the UFC decided to make a flyweight division, worldwide, it was the best division pretty easily. If you look at like right before then, it's pretty crazy. So it was exciting for the UFC to bring it in. They kind of fucked it up a little bit, obviously, and it's taken till this point to rebuild a little bit and get great again. I said it. So crazy stuff. Yeah. As Jimmy is here, good to see you. Says, I don't know if you remember, but Ghost was asking for the double jab since the WMA today, and Grasso actually used it. Oh, he was saying that since then, and Grasso actually used it. Yeah, very, very true. Ghost says, I thought striking-wise, Alexa did a great job faking her to the fence, then making the exchanges happen there. And I've said before, Valentina cannot face 2 walls. Yes, she's not a ghost like Ghost. But yeah, no, again, that first round was exactly what you would have hoped to see from her. It was brilliant. As Rain says, it was a double jab, then the rear hand. Yeah, like those fundamentals, as I said at the top here. Rio says, Valentina does not adjust well mid-fight. Disagree. She did adjust in this one. I mean, she did very blatantly. So Santino and all of us was right about Val. That Cintro said last week, when she runs out of ideas, she runs out of ideas. I don't agree with that, though. Like I said, she didn't try to grapple at all in the first round, and then she completely changed the game plan to wrestle Alexa. That's about as adjustment as it gets. Obviously didn't end up paying off, but again, Alexa did not get Valentina off of her in the 4th round. Herzog did. So I guess I am going to bring that up more than I wanted to, but yeah. Ghost says, I don't think it was the 1-2 that beat Val. It was the 1-1-2 at the fence. If Grasso just did the 1-1-2 in the middle of the cage, Val would have had more space to move back into it. Very true. And she was doing that still. She was able to do it a little bit. If you watch the slow motion video that UFC put out yesterday, really kind of highlighted it a lot, actually. So Eddie is here. Good to see you. Says, Messi or Ronaldo? I don't care. I'm not a soccer guy. So, all right, now we're getting some random questions. Rio says, disagree. UFC flyweight is still a joke. Only Aaron and Grasso are the only good ones, but hey, to each their own. Yeah, I disagree with that as well. So we'll agree to disagree, Rio. Very much disagree. But yeah, I love Aaron for sure. And Rio says, no, she always wrestles mid-fight. I'm saying that she didn't do anything to address the 1-1-2. Okay, that's fair. But I mean, I guess you could then say that wrestling was her answer to it, to address it, because she didn't even give it the chance to then happen more after the first round, So, like, she didn't literally in those striking moments, but that is an adjustment, like, by definition wise. And you guys know I'm very picky with my words, so yeah, I don't see how that's not adjusting, even if it's a tendency or a habit. And she doesn't always do that. Kind of depends. I guess The Yona one came to mind, but and real quick, gonna answer this just real quick. Ghost says, real question, what do you think of the dude flying about fighter pay with their fake payouts? Stupid, really dumb. I can't believe people fall for that shit. Rain says this was not a Valentina decline, but a great game plan by Grasso. Thank you. Yeah, I completely agree. Like, talked about it last week. If Alexa came into the fight kind of fighting as she normally does, not that she doesn't game plan for opponents as is, but you needed to be a little extra on point in this one, clearly, and she totally was. As Rio says, but the double jab was the reason Val threw the spinning back kick along the fence. Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, I guess she didn't, I don't know, stick to the adjustments, but that is a good point. As Rain says, we didn't know that Alexa could do it, but great job. Great job. Yeah, no. Like I think I probably said it last week, but if she was going to win, I would have expected a decision, of course. And the fourth round was pretty close, actually, the more I remember it. I don't have the stats up here, but I think there was an argument, you could have probably made. Doesn't matter in the end, but I think the rematch will be very good. It's going to tell us a whole lot, obviously, but I don't think that was a fluke. Definitely not. And some people made some comparisons to the Pena Nunes one. Very different situation, I think, for many reasons. I don't even really want to get into that, but this was a very legit win. So congrats to the new champ. Still crazy. Viva la Mexico. They should do that rematch in Mexico. Put all three title fights on there. Moreno, Figueiredo. No, geez, that's just lodged into our brains now, isn't it? Moreno, Pantoja. What, 3? Would be their third fight if you're counting the Ultimate Fighter. Yair versus Volkanovski. And then Grasso versus Valentina 2. All over the place now. That's what's up. That is what's up. This Go says great game plans with skill set is always a good idea. Of course. Most fighters, most women don't do that. Why do you think that is? Well, I don't know if you can put the blame on them. Of course you can, because they go out there and implement it, but you could also look at the teams as well, right? Like, and how many people, if you think about how much they put that on their coaches and whatnot to game plan for them and do the preparation, because that's, the point of them, really. Not that the fighter themselves can't, but I think a little bit two ways there. But Rio says he saw a lot of people saying this was a fluke, which annoys him. Yeah, that is definitely annoying. I actually haven't seen really any of those claims, thankfully. But yeah, that's definitely annoying, because not fluky at all. But of course, some people are always going to say that when a long reigning champ like this loses. I don't. It was definitely said. It was definitely said when like Rose beat Joanna. All those kinds of situations, because people are dumb. As Jimmy says, I don't think Val can change her game like Grasso did. Her game is the same. It's hard to deal with, but not flawless. We'll see. We will definitely find out. That's the fun of the rematch. But yeah, it was, man, just what a moment. Ultimately, that's what I'll go back to. Crazy stuff. And I definitely implore you guys to check out the slow motion video if you're into that kind of thing that the UFC posted, or if you have seen it already. It really highlighted again the striking of Grasso. So at least in that portion of the video with their fight. So interesting way to circle around here, Ghost, as he says, do you think that their low pay is not allowing them to pay the coaches they need to make game plans? I think that would be more of a factor in terms of paying for a high tier gym and team, but how much they're paying to be at their gym shouldn't at all affect game plan or preparation from the team. At least I sure hope not, but that should not be something that affects it in that regard. But like for example, ATT is going to be a much more expensive place to train at than, I don't know, maybe anywhere. It's gotta be one of the higher ones because of, what is, or I don't know, maybe it's pretty average because so many fucking people go there anyway that it's like they don't need to charge out the ass. I have no idea what their plans are like. I've been there, but I should have looked into. That's a good little note to have. Maybe if I get back there to any of the ATTs, I guess there is one in my home in Portland, so I could just go see how much it is to train there regularly, not do a camp. So obviously that's an additional fee you would, on top of things. So interesting though. As Ghost says, I've seen Henry Cejudo's expenses. It's not cheap and they have meticulous game plans. So just asking. Yeah. Like again, the, I think it's just because they're going to do that anyway, right? Like that's kind of a part of it. I don't know if it's just, yeah, you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna pay extra for a better game plan. Like the better game plan is the better team in theory, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if that's what you were saying, but that's, how I'm kind of processing that though. So yeah. Anyway, let's continue on with UFC 285 as Amanda Ribas got maybe her biggest career win. I mean, an important one, definitely capitalized here, but defeated Viviane Araújo via unanimous decision, 29-27, 30-26, and 30-27. Very kind of weird scorecards. I had this 29-27 personally. Vivi getting the first round 10-9, round 2 pretty clear 10-8 for Ribas. And then round 3, 10-9 for Ribas. Yeah, Viviane was sharp in the first round. And, we talk about Ribas's striking defense was pretty poor in the last fight. Clearly, hasn't been her strongest point anyway. But when she gets on top of you, it is a bit of a nightmare, a bit of a disaster, and she continued to show that, which was, very nice. The second round particularly could have been well on her way to a finish there at one point. Nearly the entire round of control, as you see here, 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Pretty absurd. What was it? Went for the armbar in the third round. Viviane did. She had the 2 submission attempts, so she was threatening still. Wasn't completely out of it, which was good to see. Made things interesting, but couldn't handle Ribas on top. Was kind of what it turned into after that first round, which even then in the first round, Ribas got her down and was able to work a little bit, but yeah, it was this was a very interesting one. But it was what she needed to do, and we kind of knew that. And I mean, fun on the feet. It wasn't a complete wash in either direction, like the first round specifically with Araújo. Just kind of edged out fairly comfortably, I thought. But it all came down to just Ribas's grappling being superior in overall time. 8 minutes and 20 seconds, which is kind of pointless to look at, but just to know that when you put it all together with the 225 in the first round and yada yada, outstruck her 205-86, all because of that second round, of course. And actually outstruck her in just every round in general. Of course, those numbers would lead you to that, but yeah, so very interesting. I felt pretty fine and or pretty confident comfortable with Araujo winning the first round. So seeing the 30s was kind of weird, but either way, congrats to Amanda Ribas. Much needed win. Not great for Araujo. We'll see what is next for her. Again, she's kind of more up there in age. So yeah, this fight though, I enjoyed it. It was all right. It's pretty good. Solid 7 for me as a performance from Ribas. Probably about the same. I think we're on the same here. Going back to Grasso in that fight with the 8. I think we'll do 7-7 here. I think it was good for Ribas. I mean, obviously, again, nearly finished it there in the second, but did what she needed to do. So I thought it was good. I thought it was good and fine. As Rain says, this was sad for me. I thought Araujo should have taken this one, and Ribas hasn't fixed her right-hand defense, as we always say. Yeah, that's still not great, but, you know, was able to kind of get away with it here once again. So, and Coach Greg, thank you for showing up. He's talking about the last one, the title fight, of course, is here's my issue. I've said before that fighters who change their style from fight to fight are not confident in their own style, like Grasso did with Valentina and Cenk did with Esparza. That's kind of a weird thought. I mean, because everybody's different. So, and styles make fights. I mean, that's all that needs to be said. I think. I don't think that shows a lack of confidence at all. I think it shows maybe more confidence that that shows more confidence because they're willing to readjust to, you know, in kind of these situations. So yeah, because even though my pre-fight analysis was correct for both fights, that Valentina and Esparza should have won with the right camp, fighters changing their styles really bother me and won't go far. I mean, that's kind of objectively wrong, though, as you just pointed out, like with these champions. And at least in my opinion, I shouldn't say objectively, but I think there's a lot of proof of that. And you can say that anybody should win with the right camp. You know, that you can say that about anybody. As Rain says, do you think it's right for the fighters to get away with things and not fix their problems? Well, what's the old saying, right? Not if it's not broken, don't fix it. But if you can, I mean, eventually it's going to catch up to you, as we kind of have seen. So yeah, fixing your problems is definitely a good idea. And again, one of the best examples you can use is Henry Cejudo, even though I don't know if he fixed problems in the sense you would have said, but, you know, he completely reinvented himself. And to go back to Greg, Henry Cejudo did pretty damn good when he readjusted his style almost entirely with the striking after the first DJ loss or the first DJ fight. So yeah, that's just always a very good example to bring up, I think. So yeah, there's just a lot of proof kind of against that feeling, Greg, but you know, he can feel however. So that's just my thought, and there's examples I think to support it, but it is what it is. So all right, that was Grasso, not Grasso, that was Araujo. Ribas, as Rain says, for the Henry Cejudo thing, he readjusted style to different opponents. Yes, he certainly did, but it's kind of overall readjusted it after that, after the loss, and should have got the win over Joseph Benavidez, if we're being honest. And, you know, he wasn't the most exciting fighter before that. He really wasn't. Like, I love me a good, strong wrestler, especially one like him. But, yeah, he was way more exciting afterward. But anyway, rolling on, wrapping things up with UFC 285. Tabitha Ricci cut through Jessica Penne, defeated her via second-round submission armbar at 214. Man, this was a bummer, as someone who enjoys Jessica Penne and has had a good relationship with her over the years. Yeah, this was pretty much one-way traffic. Did not really have anything whatsoever for Ricci. Got taken down pretty easily. And the first round, that was kind of borderline 10-8-ish from what I remember, but I don't remember scoring it that way. But yeah, Penne just did not have very much resistance. And once they got down in the second round, Ricci whipping out the armbar like it's I don't know, time to take home a limb, and that's what you did. I really don't have much to recap about this one because it was pretty flawless, one-way traffic for Tabitha, and I mean, it's in hindsight, it's easy to say that it's annoying that they made this one because I was very excited for it. I thought it would be a grappler's delight. It was not the case at all. I mean, it was in terms of Ricci, but I thought we'd get some competitive, fun grappling, scrambles and whatnot, exchanges. But in hindsight, it's easy to say this then, but it makes you wish that they would have continue to give Jessica kind of some more fighters around, more experienced fighters, more veterans, not the up and comers like Ricci. Like I've been saying, I want to see the Jin fight just because they're former atomweight champs. That's just a fun little thing to me. Maybe we can still get that now, but this could also have been Jessica's last fight. She's 40 now. She's made up for the lost time to a good enough extent, but this was just not very good from her, of course, which is sad. And if this kind of happens against these opponents, not that Tabitha does not have great potential. I mean, she's doing very good right now and showing that she deserves a step up, which I think she will get next. But for Jessica, it's I think we've seen it all now. So we'd like to see her go on a win. Just make the Jin fight. They can both retire after that. Jin has one booked, though, doesn't she? So might have to wait. But yeah, was a fun resurgence there for a moment, but now we're getting to this point, which is not as fun. So as for Tabitha, though, very fun, good time she's having. I mean, this was about as perfect as it gets. 10 out of 10 performance as a fight. Not so great. Maybe a 4 just because of how well she did, but it was one-way traffic again. Maybe even a 3 you could go, but pretty much a 10 for Tabitha. Yeah, I mean, what more can you say? As Ghost says, I'm correct. Fighters who change their styles have more confidence in themselves and are not the most successful, and are also the most successful despite how hard that is to do. Yeah, like because people get so comfortable with what they're good at or how they do their certain things that to try and change that's and make adjustments, big confidence there. Like it bums me out a little bit listening to Dominic after the Cheeto loss, and Ariel was asking him, do you change things now? And he just kind of admits that it's too late to do that. That he feels it's too late, which I get it. All the habits and his unique style that he's had for, fucking his whole life. I get it, but it's like, man, why not try at least, or think of some other things. Not that he isn't, of course, that guy is certainly going to do that, but for him to say that kind of was upsetting to hear as, my favorite fighter. But yeah, because he's definitely a very confident guy, but to say that is, I don't know, he could just be saying it. I guess we'll see when he returns, but yeah, as Rain says, we talked about this last week with James saying that if Ricci wrestles, that she would beat Penne easy. If Ricci did judo, this would be competitive. Right, we got it was this fight, right? She hit that fucking beautiful throw on Penne. Like, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what I was saying too. I didn't think that Jessica was going to, out muscle her, or she was not going to be working from the top at all. Like she was definitely never going to be starting there. If she was going to get on top, it would have been from some kind of transition or sweep or whatever from the bottom. She was going to have to work a little bit extra harder to get in those positions, but I thought she'd be more fine on the bottom than she was. That's for sure. Coach Greg says he disagrees. Styles make fights. That is what I said, though. So while I really love Zhang and Grasso's systems of fighting, any good wrestlers can beat them. I've argued this many times with Valentina prepped properly against Grasso. Val beats her 10 out of 10 times. I'm proud as an analyst, and it bothers me when fighters deviate from their original system. I don't understand this line of thinking at all. like especially when they did as good as they did. I don't know why that would bother you, man. I've said the same thing about Esparza. Double leg is easier to complete than Zhang's offense. Now that confuses me too. And again, you say any good wrestler can beat them. Well, then it comes down to kind of the game plan there too, because we've seen that's not been the case. Like Valentina hasn't fought too many like great traditional wrestlers, really. There's just not a lot at flyweight. I mean, you could probably say Carmouche was the most notable one or the best one that she's fought in during her title run anyways. And we saw how that went. It was not a good time for anybody. And then Whaley obviously passed the Carla test with flying colors. And we'll see that put to the test again against Tatiana when that inevitably happens. Yeah. So I don't know. Very confused kind of by your thoughts there. But yeah, that's UFC 285. You guys, quite the event. My goodness, quite the event that was. In more ways than one. And whoa. So, all right, let's get to the news now. Go through the news cycle. Very much excited for these. So you know how we do. We kind of breeze through them, give the ratings and whatnot. But starting off with an 112-pound catchweight bout, Reina Weight, as Reina is back. And she is taking on Claire Lopez from Combate Global, has been added to Rise and Landmark 5 on April 30th in Shibuya. Rise and Landmark 5, first of all, stacked card. This is the best Landmark card they've ever done. It's going to be a very fun one. I'm not sure if this is going to be cage or ring, because I know since I think Trigger is just kind of done now and they're combining the concepts, just putting it into Landmark. So they'll probably have cage and ring events for Landmark ones now. But good to see Reina back always. And, Claire Lopez, a fun fighter. She was in the finals of the Combate tournament, ended up losing to Yasmin Yariguay. No shame in that one. But, it's a random fight. Reina's fights can be a little bit random sometimes, and she's obviously pretty much done with atomweight at this point. I would assume, even though, again, we said that when we were talking about Sayaka's next move, I felt like this would probably be the one to go. I mean, the fight to make is Sayaka versus Oshima. We know this. Like, it's a no-brainer at this point. Kind of some politics going on, I guess, with Saori, and I guess we'll just leave it at that. That's all I can say. But unfortunate. Hopefully it gets sorted out soon. But yeah, looking forward to this one. Should definitely be a fun fight. Claire Lopez, pretty solid sized fighter. She's been at atomweight and strawweight. I think she's been at atomweight before, but I know she is obviously fought at strawweight, mostly in Combate. And with that tournament, like I said, against Yariguay. But yeah, should be a fun matchup. I'm looking forward to it. Always looking forward to Reina fights, even though, maybe if you want to talk about someone who's kind of towards the end, I think it's obviously probably her at this point, but we shall see. So this one, I'm fine with it. It is what it is with Reina at this point. The Reina weight fights, and yeah, it's been a unique kind of career for her, especially the second half of her career. So solid 7. I'm always glad to see new faces in Ryzen 2, and working with Combate, that's cool. So Claire representing France and going to Japan. I'm here for it. So, And then on that same card, you want to talk about some more surprises? Here we go. In the super atomweight division, Kana Asakura welcomes Mei Yamaguchi to Ryzen, the former one championship title challenger, making her debut at Ryzen Landmark 5. Didn't see that coming. Did not see that coming at all. Old VV May, as that's they're putting that stamp on her, as you can see in the corner there. The unfinishable Mei Yamaguchi, my goodness, one of the veterans, pioneers at atomweight and strawweight. This will be her first actual, atomweight fight in a good while since, of course, the one championship division is 115. She's just an incredibly tiny individual, so it's good to see her back in, the lightest weight class aside from the microweight experiment. But yeah, didn't see this one coming. It's an interesting one in Kana. Yeah, I was kind of wondering when she was going to get back. Haven't seen her in a while. Still one of the best around. Could use a victory here after, my gosh, yeah, the Siwoo Pork fight was her last one. And man, that was a bit of a thumping. So I like this matchup. It's definitely not one I saw. And I think not the one that I saw coming, of course, because something's going on with one championship, and fighters kind of seeming to get away from them, or at least saying they're getting away. But May clearly still is clearly doing that now. I think we've seen that she's definitely towards the end of her career. Who knows? This could be her retirement fight. Not sure. Hoping to maybe catch up with her here soon. Maybe for Broad Horizon. I don't know. I'm not confirming or denying, but yeah, I like the matchup. Could see some very fun ground exchanges in this one for sure. But of course, you gotta lean towards Kana. So yeah, I mean it's fine. It's totally fine. I think another 7 on this one being made, matchmaking wise and all that. I'm good with it. I am good with it. And again, new faces in the Ryzen division, so I'm all for that. All right, and then we get to one I didn't see coming. Again, this was my goodness, talk about just turning right around, getting things going. Yan Xiaonan is facing Jessica Andrade at UFC 288 on May 6th. No location yet, but all right. I mean, not the matchup I would have went with, so that's a little bit frustrating, but okay. Should be fun. I like them both, but Yan Xiaonan is one of my faves. So more excited to see her back, and I'm very curious to see Andrade, of course, back at strawweight after the 2 fights at flyweight. Great performance against Lauren Murphy, and then terrible one against Aaron Blanchfield, obviously. So there's plenty of time between now and then, but Jessica just getting right after it again. Yeah, I said I would have done Andrade versus Carla, Xiaonan versus Rose. Ideally, that's what I would have liked. But, this will still be good because strawweight fights, of course. Could be a fun 5-rounder, but obviously not going to be the case on UFC 288. It's fine. It's all good and fine. I just not the direction specifically I would have went with, but hey, it is what it is. Should be fun. So this is, I think 7 again. I think 7 might be the magic number of this show, obviously, because good matchup, good matchmaking. Not what I would have done, but it's going to be fun for sure. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to this next one as well for maybe different reasons, but. Speaking of the atomweights, the queen, the champ, Sekizawa, taking on Miyu Yamamoto, Ryzen 42, same day as the other one, May 6th in Tokyo. Non-title fight, which is always a little bit annoying, but in this case, Miyu definitely should not be getting a title shot. She's on a losing streak. But this is a retirement fight. So this is the last one, the last dance for the Fighting Queen Bee. And I don't know, is it kind of mean for them to do this to her? Because this fight could very well not last very long. Yeah. Love Miyu, love Sayaka. So a bittersweet one that somebody's got to lose here. But again, there's some potential to see a very fun finish and some very fun scrambles in this one. I mean, I think the fight could look very, very, very similar to Ayaka versus Miyu, which we know how that one went. Was one of the best performances in the past couple of years. One of my favorite finishes of the past so many years. I mean, this is terrible, awful matchmaking. Makes no sense whatsoever, especially for the champ. But that's just kind of how they do the retirement fights, right? Is in Japan, traditionally, they like to give the person retiring somebody, a younger fighter, typically like a prospector, up and comer, something like that. But or the champ, I guess you could do, which is kind of insane. It really doesn't make any sense. So I'm looking forward to it. I think there can be some fun in it. Not for Miyu necessarily, but what a fucking story that would be. Kind of similar to how if she would have pulled it off against Ayaka. But again, that's going to be way easier said than done. So I think I automatically have to give this like a 5 because this fight should not happen. Not at all. Doesn't make any sense. Stylistically can be fun. Again, like both fighters, great humans. So that gives it the 5, because if you take away all those things, it's like a 2, but yeah, is what it is. I'm always hyped to see either of them fight, really, but that one doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense whatsoever. So, all right, let's speed it up here a little bit. I'm taking my time a bit, trying to get just to the hour mark. In the 115-pound one atom weight class, Denise Zamboanga is back, taking on Julie Mezabarba, one Fight Night 9, April 22nd in Bangkok. So again, I don't think this fight makes very much sense either. Because Julie, she's coming off a loss as well, whereas Denise has rebounded against Lynn. A very fun, competitive fight. But again, it should be fun. I think stylistically they match up pretty well. I think Julie needs to make some readjustments. We've seen kind of her stifled a little bit in her losses. But Denise has kind of just been complete ever since she lost to Ham. It's one is like completely stopped promoting her, it seems like, or caring about her, spotlighting her as much as they normally did when she was undefeated, which I guess makes sense in a way, but yeah. So fun one. I'm here for it. Maybe not the most logical matchmaking, but I think it should be fine. Should be good. So this for me, it's a 6. It's a good 6. Should be a fun fight. No real serious issues like Itsuki versus Ham, but I don't want to talk about that until it's over and done with. And last bit of news today, actually a lot more than I expected, huh? There's a good bout in here. Good amount, I should say. And all right, actually just got an update on things. Looks like I actually don't need to rush as much as I needed to. So that's good. Yes, that is very good. Sorry, guys. Just got to make sure the schedule's all in order down here in San Jose. But the last order of business for the news today, at bantamweight, Miesha Tate is back. She's not done yet. She's been very, very quiet since her Ketlin loss, it feels like. But she is back, taking on Shitara MBS Mayra Bueno Silva at the UFC Fight Night event on June 3rd. Location to be determined. So, I mean, it's kind of weird because it's like, if you want to keep fighting, if Miesha wants to keep fighting as a bantamweight, there's just not a lot of bodies. There's not a lot of bodies in the division. Like, here, I have the power of good internet today, you guys, obviously. So I want to see how many bantamweights are in the UFC right now, at least according to the website. And actually, I guess there's yeah, this is not a good indicator. There's the UFC roster page, right? Let me see. UFC roster list. How many bantamweights are we working with? I'm looking at this now since I have the luxury of more time. Bear with me, guys. What do we got here? Is this the list? Debuted fighters. I don't know what that means. Okay, here we go. I know I'll be able to count this pretty easily. Women's bantamweights. Jermaine Durandamy. I'm not going to do the names. What am I doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And is Misha even on here? 25 total. They don't have Misha listed on here because she was just a flyweight. So they have her in the flyweight division. But including Misha, including her coming back, there's only 25. So that means 10 fighters outside of the rankings. And then, oh my God, flyweight division is way bigger. Strawweight division is way bigger. I'm not going to count them, but you can just see by looking at it here. So what I was getting at was, oh my God, featherweight division, according to, and this isn't even accurate actually, so this should be fixed here, because the featherweight division says Nunes, Zara Farron, Norma, Stephanie Egger, Josiane Nunes, Aylin Perez, Danielle Wolf. That's hilarious. I'm going way off track here now, but Stephanie Egger is a bantamweight. Josiane Nunes is a bantamweight as well. Aylin Perez, was supposed to fight Haley Cowan at bantamweight. She's a bantamweight. Norma Dumont, I mean, they've been fucking with her. So realistically here, what we're looking at is Nunes also, of course, a bantamweight. Justin Nunes, Farron, and Daniel Wolf. There's 3 featherweights right now. So you drop all those down. So there's more around 30-ish bantamweights. And I mean, some of them aren't even active at the moment, like Durandamy's on there. Hilarious. And Zara Farron I will be surprised if she sticks around, but I'm going completely off track here. My point was, my entire point of that was, if you're Misha and you want to continue to fight, it's like there's such slim pickings that you're going to have to fight fairly notable fighters. I mean, Mayra Bueno Silva is making a case to be a contender here soon. Like, she beats Misha, then you got to give her like someone in the top 10 for sure. I think she is 10 right now, actually. According to the UFC's official rankings, I have the MMA fighting rankings picture up here right now, which has them at 13 and 14 in those, which I'm curious to see what they're, who else they got around them. But I don't know how I feel about this, actually. I think stylistically, again, this could be very, very fun. I'm glad Misha's going back to bantamweight and not killing herself for flyweight. Failed experiment there. I'm still surprised she even made that, honestly. So it's tough. Like, the matchups are going to be tough now, and maybe if she can just channel once again her performance against Renault, and then maybe some of the, again, she did some good things in the Ketlin Vieira fight, as our boy Ghost highlighted in that Phantom Punch breakdown and whatnot. There's still something there with Misha. Wasn't there in the Lauren Murphy fight, obviously, but, and I guess, we can't even count that one too much because it was a flyweight, but there's still a little bit of something there with Cupcake. It's just a matter of, I don't know, I guess putting it into motion. So we'll see if she can do that in a pretty tough matchup with a dangerous Mayra Bueno Silva, who looked fantastic against Lena Landsberg recently. So big one for her, though. Big one for her. And yeah, she's becoming someone you kind of need to continue to watch in the division. But That's not saying a terribly lot. I can't even say words properly right now. When can I ever? But as for the rating of that fight, I love Misha. She's one of my favorites, and I'm enjoying kind of the bantamweight Bueno Silva run right now. So, I mean, you can't really complain too much about it again because this is the bantamweight division right now. So, I mean, 6. I'm going to give it a pretty comfortable 6 rating. How is everyone feeling about all this stuff? About all this news? Jimmy says, do you think you could do 2-hour shows? I feel like the past few weeks we are rushing through things and starting to be a hot take show, which we must avoid. I don't know. Are we? Am I dropping hot takes? Please let me know what has been my hottest take recently, you guys. 2-hour shows, though. Probably not, Jimmy. I think the one, I mean, what was it? 2 weeks ago was the one where we had a very big lineup because we missed a week. So that was why that one was definitely rushed. I've just had some scheduling things. That's honestly what it's been. And like I said, now I don't need to rush to this one now because I just got my update on things. But and on the regular weekdays, like I got to start my writing shift like right after the show anyway. So that's why 1 hour and a half, an hour and a half is like the sweet spot. And of course we go over sometimes a little bit, but yeah. But I'm curious about the hot takes now. I know maybe some of you guys have, but I don't know. I guess it's hard for me to say what the hottest take would be, but Greg says he broke down many great fighters' systems, but some of those systems fail when confronted with the correct style. The correct style should always win. But what makes it correct, though? As he says, freestyle wrestling beats striking. Traditionally, we've seen that. Striking beats striking. It's pretty simple. I believe that when a fighter deviates, they know they cannot win with their own style. Not necessarily. I mean, it's going to be harder to win, of course, but to say they can't win, I mean, I think we've seen that also kind of proven as not necessarily true all the time. But I understand where you're coming from, I suppose. It's Jumbo not being very nice here, Jumbo. We need some more positivity. Hoping Xiaonan loses. How rude. Because she said she believes her win over Dern should promote her to a brown belt, learn to be humble. I mean, I guess that's not the most humble thing to say, but I think that's fair. It would be fair. I mean, surviving, I guess, didn't show, the best offensive grappling at times, but who does normally against Dern. But Rand says he hopes that Andrade versus Jan is on the prelims where it belongs. Okay, well, that's not positive either. Disagree with all of that. Jumbo asking, can I ask Zhao Nan why the Chinese MMA fans have turned on her? She mentioned this in John's interview. Shout out to him with her fight against Dern. Lots of us were rooting against her. Well, I think wouldn't you know the answer to that, Jumbo? But yeah, I definitely plan on catching up with Jan again before that. I mean, well, I mean, these are all opinions, Rio. I'm reading what you're saying here right now, and there's nothing offensive being said or, over the line. Just obviously we disagree perhaps, but that's fine. Again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. As long as you're not a dickhead or an asshole, that's all I really care about, or trolling or whatnot. But interesting perspective. I'll say that much. But Makoto, what's up, man? Says hello. Does it make you angry that Andrade Jan is not even being promoted on Migu? I still haven't got on this. You guys got to help me out with the whole Migu thing. But I mean, it was just announced, Makoto, so I'm not surprised by no promotion whatsoever. And it hasn't even, I don't even think the UFC has officially announced it yet, but but yeah. This Migu is currently filled with lots of Leech and Whaley stuff. Not complaining, but I think it's great they are ignoring Xiaonan. Jeez, you guys are haters, man. This is not the positivity that I am looking for. Like, come on, come on. Yeah. Jumbo says also your thoughts on Whaley only doing MMA media appearances, interviews exclusive in China. She said she will only do US media interviews on fight weeks. All right, well, there we have it. That is kind of an answer to something we've been talking about recently, but I mean, that's not a crazy thing. I mean, that's kind of pretty much what Jessie Jess does. You know, she's openly admitted that she'll always make time for Australian media, and then she only talks to like 3 non-Australians, which is myself, James Lynch, and Ariel. She said that last time she was on Ariel, and she said that to me too when we caught up. But it's not a crazy thing for people to do. Of course, it sucks because you want to hear from people more often, like I said, right? But I'm going to continue to try working on some things here. What is it? Tomorrow, or no, Sunday, when I kind of do my reach outs and whatnot, because I want to talk to Whaley again, man. I think we could have a very good conversation once again. But man, she's just not easy to get a hold of anymore. And it wasn't like it was easy the first time I did, but yeah. So Jimmy says a little bit of both, but the chat is starting to drop hot takes, which is not good. I feel I'm doing it as well, which is not good. I don't think so, Jimmy. I haven't seen anything too hot. I mean, maybe give me an example, but I don't think anything's been too crazy. Jumbo says, I would like you to ask Whaley or Xiaonan. Ask Xiaonan how it feels that her own people are not supporting her. Yeah, I mean, it probably doesn't feel great. I think we know the answer to that. Or I don't remember specifically the comments to John, but she might not even care. I mean, really, Xiaonan is not seem to be somebody who kind of cares too much about that type of stuff. But of course, it's not a great feeling, I'm sure. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get wrapped up here with the UFC Las Vegas preview. Just one fight. And honestly, you guys, there's not very much to talk about with this one. It's a very cut and dry matchup. There's only one we have that looked like I flipped off, but that was the middle thing. That was the pointer. At flyweight, JJ Aldrich versus Ariane Lipski. A fight that, could be, well, maybe not. I was going to say this could be a must win for Lipski. I mean, definitely a need would be very good for her to win, but maybe not a must win because of the 1-1 in the recent. But that would be really bad to be 1-4 in your last 5. Just has not panned out so well for Lipski, but still just 29 years old. And we talk about it every time we talk about Lipski, the violence queen. I mean, man, at a time, one of the best flyweights in the world when she was KSW champ, all that good stuff. 5'5" to 5'6" here, 67.5-inch reach to 67. They both made weight today, which is good. Let's check out the predictions. Aldrich, 78% to 22, not surprising, out of 2,000 votes. This is, I mean, most fights turn into striker versus grappler when you're going against Ariane Lipski because she is, and what the last one was, the boneheaded Cachoeira knockout loss, which we don't talk about that. And of course, Aldrich rightfully a -240 favorite. Pretty fine odds. Just Ariane Lipski allergic to takedown defense, similar to Cachoeira, obviously someone we always talk about in terms of no takedown defense, but yeah, and JJ is a total grinder, very well-rounded fighter, but is going to take down Lipski with whatever possible takedown. Doesn't really, just anything will work. But on the feet, like Lipski, of course, that's where she does all her damage. She has the better striking. She is a violent striker. Packs a lot of power. You know, but it's like, it feels almost pointless to talk about what. Nothing's ever a foregone conclusion, but it's so frustrating, man, when you see over time and time again the same weakness just continually exploited. Maybe this will be different. Hopefully it will be different. 6 months ago, but she didn't even try to, you know, that's when she should have wrestled or grappled in that fight against Kashura. And then she has the Mandy Bohm win, which was actually a very good performance. A very good one. She looked phenomenal in that fight, actually, which feels like forever ago now because it kind of was. But if she can go back to that, that would be great. Easier said than done here against this matchup and opponent in Aldrich. But also, that was a very poor game plan approach from Mandy Bohm, but she's kind of been exposed a little bit since then too. So I don't know exactly what to make of it. Power of hindsight. A little bit weird, but yeah. Ultimately, this should be a fight to lose. Is that the phrase, right? I always get that one wrong for Aldrich because she's just a grinder, man. Whether it's against the cage or on the ground, she should not have too much trouble with Lipski as long as she's in tight. You know, if she's got any space, she's going to be a little bit in trouble there because Lipski is danger. She is violence when allowed to be. Pretty much, let's put it that way. So yeah. Yep. Rio says, so Dan, Tom said this, there are 3 types of fighters: process-based fighters, opportunity-based fighters, and spammers. He said most females are spammers and opportunists. Only the very elite are process-based. I think for the most part, that sounds pretty accurate to me. You know, it's kind of like you have to think of these examples on the fly in that regard. But yeah, I don't know. I think that sounds pretty right. I mean, hey, I'm never one to really disagree with Mr. Tom. He's a smarter man than I will gladly admit that. So anyway, that's UFC Las Vegas, you guys. Again, I don't think there's too much to preview about that fight. Intrigued by how it'll go down and whatnot, but not a crazy week, not a crazy weekend. So bummer we missed out on the action tonight. Brunel and Kerry Melendez would have been fun. Sounds like they're going to try and rebook that, according to Scott Coker. But yeah, I think we can about do it there, you guys. I have not eaten yet today, so I have some things to kind of do before the show. So we'll put a bow on it there, and hopefully, let's see if the volume is not overwhelming today, because I know it's been problematic at the end. So say something really quickly if it is if it is loud, but should be all good. So don't forget, you guys, to visit WMMAnia.com for all your MMA needs, and don't forget to follow us, like, share, and subscribe on all platforms. You can hit that notification bell so you don't miss a gosh darn thing when we're live, or just for uploads. Again, I'm not totally sure how that works. And follow me at Drake Riggs _ Twitter and Instagram. And you know what we have right now for the shameless plugs. Spoke to MVP Michael Venom Page and Alexander Shabley ahead of their fights tonight, so you can still catch those at MMAnia.com before the action goes down at 4 o'clock Pacific time for the prelims, or maybe 4:30. It's things have gotten, the card's taken some hits, so it's not at the same proper time as it was originally going to be. But either way, those guys are on the main card, co-main event, and then the opener. But yeah, and then Sexyama, Yoshihiro Akiyama, spoke to him the living legend, the sexiest man alive. After his time on Physical 100, if you've seen that show on Netflix, kind of like a real life Squid Game a little bit. So that was great. It was great getting to chat with him and talking about some MMA stuff. He's planning to return. He's going to retire at 50, so he's getting close there, but not quite. So check that out. Sexyama. Good stuff with him. Broad Horizon episode 24 is also out. Which, let me look at this. I'm all confused about kind of the lineups these days. But yeah, that also has Tofik on it. Tofik Musayev, who is competing against Shabli tonight in the first round of the Lightweight Grand Prix. Former Grand Prix champ in Ryzen. Sho Patrick Kusami and Rusei Ashizawa, who are competing at Ryzen 40, coming up here on April Fool's Day. And then, Broad Horizon episode 25 is also already in the works, so look forward to that one soon. But yeah, that about does it for all that is going on at the moment and for what is to come. So we'll close it off here. As Ghost asking, I remember a few episodes ago, he said Yan Jianan is an elite ring general. Why? She got cut off by Dern, who is not a good ring cutter. Why have we lowered our standards? To me, great ring generals are Holly Holm, Joanna, Izzy, and Cruz. Yeah, those are definitely very good ones. I don't recall saying that. I mean, I think she's a good one. I don't know if I said she was elite. And again, maybe by straw weight, well, not, I don't want to say that either, but comparatively, right? We always talk about comparatively speaking. That's what I'm getting at. And compared to, those four you mentioned, those are definitely, I mean, as good as it gets. Those are some of the finest all time. But yeah, I mean, obviously the Dern fight was not a great example of her ring generalship, but I think historically she's been a pretty good one. But yeah, I mean, that hurts. That kind of takes away from the level, I guess you could say there. But I don't know. I got to do me a good old Jiaonan rewatch, a marathon here soon or something, but won't be today. So, all right, you guys, we can leave it off there. Appreciate you so much, especially for tuning in on this Friday with all the craziness. We will be back on Tuesday next week at the same time as per usual, 12 p.m. Pacific time. Back home in the studio as well. All that good stuff. So until then, I will see you next time. Enjoy the fights tonight, enjoy them tomorrow, and all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll see you in just a couple days this time, not a full week. So thank you so much, you guys. Stay safe and stay sane. Until next time.